Why do we need succession planning? By the end of this video, you're going to see how we can unlock all the value that's in your head to be able to get it out so that this business can run and grow with or without you. Are you building an asset that you can sell or just something that you can just get out of when you finally get to the end of it? You want to know the one thing that's going to determine 80% of the value of your business? Let me show you right now. Hey, before I dive into my little stick figure number guy right over here, we need to acknowledge first, why is succession planning even important? Why are we even having this discussion? Why did you look for it? A basic definition of succession planning is really just creating a plan that takes this thing that you have worked so hard to build and put it in a position where it can transition to other people. Whether that transition is through your family, it could be through an outside buyer, doesn't matter what it is, but you have worked hard to this point, and I want to congratulate you on that hard work. I don't want to miss that acknowledgement, because as we walk through this stuff, I'm going to give you a lot of mechanical things, but in that mechanism, I don't want to miss the hard work and the soul that you've poured into this mission that you've been building. Now, let's dive into the numbers. I thought I would put the numbers in sort of kind of a person, stick figure persona to help you see that there is a transition that needs to happen to a blank slate over here, but it comes from a position, and all this is bottled up in a person. So let's talk about 4, 12, 30, 80, 20, all right? And let's walk through this. First, the 4, 12, 30 that we've got to understand. 4% of businesses live to see their 10th birthday, which means 96% of businesses that start fail. Second, in that transition from first generation to second generation, only 12% of the 4 successful percent actually make it to the second generation. And not to depress you, but only 30% of the 12% of the 4% make it to the third generation. It's really hard to see. And there are some big companies out there. I actually used to work for Pfizer. And so you look at Pfizer, that is a multi-generational company that has made it through a series of generations. Why? It's because in most cases, they built a succession-worthy business. And so I want to dive into what a succession-worthy business means. All right, this 80-20 is incredibly important as well, and I think this will help us kind of sober us up a little bit as to why we need to be having this conversation in the first place. And so why we need succession planning is currently, statistically, 80% of your net worth as a business owner is actually locked away in the business. And then 80% of the value of that business is actually locked away in the process of that business. So we think it's the product a lot of time. It's not. That's what we're going after right now. So the flip side of that is of 100% of the businesses that go up for sale, 80% do not transact, and only 20% of them actually transact into a sellable asset, into a sellable business. Why? It's because a lot of people did not have the courage that you are having right now to come ask this question and work through this. So you're already multiple steps of the way there. Too many people get to the end of this business that they have created just hoping to fire sale it, or even worse, just walk away from it. And they're leaving so much value on the table. I'm not even talking about just money. I'm talking about value for other people who could draw value from this thing that they've built. Remember, when you build a business, you're building a legacy. You're building a stage for all of us to be able to perform on. And so we need you. We need you asking these questions, and we need you to understand where 80% of the value of your business is and why only 20% of the businesses that actually go for transaction. So you heard me mention before that 80% of the value of your business is locked away in the process of your business. What does that mean? That means it's not the product that you're selling that's important. That's nice, but it's a commodity. It's the process via which you deliver that product. So I want to give you an example. So we've got a client that is in the construction business, and this particular client builds really high-end custom homes. And in the custom home business, you would think that it's a pretty limited supply of folks that can do it. Not at all. There's plenty of people that used to work for the big regionals or nationals that have left them and gone out and hung a shingle, and now they'll go build these custom homes. They take a GC license, and now they can go build these custom homes for people. The reality is once my client got into that business, he realized how cutthroat it was, because you could take the Walmart or Amazon strategy and just start cutting prices. Well, when you do that, you start not only cutting quality out of the product that you're building, but you also cut the motivation. What is that? It's the net margin, because all of a sudden you're doing jobs for low fees or no fees. And we don't want to be in the break-even business. We're in for-profit entities that we're wanting to do. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great non-for-profits that are doing great work, but you and I are talking about for-profit entities. So I want to focus on creating good margins within that. So my client gets into this business, and all of a sudden he starts trying to race to the bottom to lower the prices and realize, wait a second, that doesn't work, because at some point, as Seth Godin says, somebody ultimately wins that game. And usually their name's going to be Walmart or Amazon, and you can't compete with that. So we want to do something different. We want our clients to see value in different ways. How do we do that? We can either try to enhance the product And in most cases, you're just going to continue to commoditize it. Coffee can only get good enough, right? Rice can only get good enough. Cars can only get good enough. But the process via which we have around that thing, let me give you an example. If I came to you and said, hey, I've got a 1976 Ford Pinto, it's beat up, it's missing a tire, and the engine doesn't run. Would you be interested? Probably not. Or you might say, I need some metal to sell to a scrapyard, I'll pay you $5 for it to take it off your hands. But if I told you that that same car was the car that was Tiger Woods' first car in high school, now you interested? I don't even know that I know much about Tiger Woods or, wait, what sport does he play? Anyway, you get my point. The point is, all of a sudden, all I did was add a story. I added some element more than just the tangible value of the product itself. That's what I want to illustrate to you about the process. So when somebody now comes to my friend's home building company, they don't just come in and start doing some basic design stuff and they get this really nice, really expensive home. No, what they do is they go through a methodological process that my friend has put in place, starting with marketing, then moving to sales, then moving to the actual production or the operations of that, then moving to the administrative accounting side of it. And so what they think is they think about their customer over here through every step of that cycle, and they start to build a process that's customized around the customer, so the customer is not focused on the product, they're now focused on the process. This is what 80% of the value of your business comes from, is the process that is built that the customer experiences. So here's what succession planning does. Succession planning gets all this wealth that's in your head out of your head into a package that now other people can draw value from. Because remember, when you transition to somebody else, you don't transition to somebody who's got all the experience that you have. They've not run your business before, even if they're a strategic buyer in the same industry, in the same type of business. You could have two competing new construction home building companies run by twins, and all their employees are twins of one another, and yet they're going to be run completely different from each other. And so we've got to be able to take all this process, this unique capability that's over product, package it up so that we can begin to transition that out. And the good news is if you can do that, it's going to increase the value of the asset of your business. So ultimately we ask, why do we need succession planning? It's to unlock all this value to get you focused not on the wrong thing, but on the right thing, and prepare somebody else to be able to handle that transition of that process so that they can succeed, and we can get this number up, and we can start transitioning businesses and create the legacy that you're looking to create, both time, money, and relationship. And I would argue that the relationship is the most important. I've never read somebody's headstone that just said he or she made a lot of money. Like, I'm just not interested in that. And so at the end of your life, you want to be able to look and go, hey, I left a legacy. And not even at the end of your life. I don't want you to get that when you're dead. I want you to get that when you're 40, 50, 60. I want you to think about your legacy now. And succession planning gives you an opportunity, not just for the soft side of legacy, but also the hard side of value, to be able to transition that value. But there's one big takeaway that I haven't touched on this sheet yet. It's glaring. It's overarching everything. And you see RPM. You can do none of this without repetition, sorry, I always get stuck there. Predictability and meaning. And so these three things, when you start to think about the process of your business, I want you to think about it repetitively, and I want you in that repetition to create predictability, and by the predictability you start to create meaning for all of these other people who are drawing value. Your business has value to everybody else around, not just you. So let's go through the process of building a great succession plan. Here's the good news. I've got a video that's going to blow your mind. It's got incredible detail that'll walk you step by step by step on how to create that succession planning and vision story process, so you start to have great clarity yourself and you can pass that to other people. Go click on the link in the description below. It'll take you there. My name's Scott Beebe. We work with business owners 3 to 100 employees to liberate you from chaos, to unlock this value so you can make time and impact for the things that matter most.